Hey, family, and welcome to Excellence in Everything Live. Today, we are officially planning for summer because summer officially starts in 2 months. And so that you are not scurrying for the last minute, looking for something to do to maximize time. Tonight's topic, we're going to talk about that 5 high value ways to use summer break. We're going to talk about that right after today's intro. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence. You amplify a voice of excellence. Your contribution to this world will be of excellence. You will achieve your highest goals and desires with excellence. You are capable of excellence. You have an inner power of excellence. You will achieve excellence in everything, every time. Hey family, I'm Linnita Hosten, and my vision is that every graduate, whether high school, college, military, whatever program an individual is leaving, that they would be very confident, very competent, and very competitive for their industry. I'm really passionate about our young men and women knowing what it is that they desire and preparing a plan to go after it. And so I get excited to help them execute that and to ultimately make you proud. Those of you who are watching on the other end, if you are watching live, go ahead and let us know that you are here. You can type in the comments, I'm here. And if you happen to catch the replay, you can type in hashtag replay. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click subscribe because we are live streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So I'm a firm believer that we should always be good stewards over our time. Time is one thing that we cannot get back. We cannot relive time. We cannot reuse time. We cannot recycle time. We can only manage the time with the time that we have. And so I feel like summer is the best opportunity for us to put our foot on the gas. I think commonly we see summer as a time to break. It's a time to rejuvenate. It's a time to relax, to pull back from our mundane or repeat task. It's a time to rest, essentially. I feel that to be a good steward over time, every time matters. Now, do we have to exhaust ourselves doing those things? No, nobody said that. Do we have to overwork ourselves? No, but we should ultimately be doing something to utilize that time, even if it's not something that's consistent and or structured. And so today I wanted to talk about 5 high value ways in which you can utilize your summer break. And so I'm going to jump right on in. And as you were watching, I want you to pick up. So skill building. If you are not new to my online content, you know that I am a firm believer that your skill set is what gets you in front of the line. It's either your skill set or a reputation that gets you in the front of the line, that gets you seen for opportunities, that opens doors for you. The reputation could be someone you know, or it could be yours. Sometimes that reputation is built upon relationships. Sometimes it's just built upon someone being so good at what they do. And so it's either your reputation or a skill set that gets you in front of the line. I feel that when we are actively developing particular skills, a skill is an ability to do something well. When we're actively developing that, we are automatically making ourselves high value. To me, high value is just a synonym for something being precious, something that's being, it's really difficult to attach an actual value to. It's seen as very desired. So think about highly desired uses of time, highly desired quality ways to maximize time. I think skill building is one of them. And so one of the things I teach in the Excellence Academy, I have, and I'm gonna tell you this exercise because perhaps you may see an opportunity for yourself to do it, and or you may have a student that you want to do this with. Maybe you may run a summer program and you'd like to do this as well. I have them in the Excellence Academy, which is my 16-week program. I have the students create an inventory of all of their skills. Well, first I have to teach them what a skill is, how you recognize a skill, ways you practice a skill. And then I have them do an inventory exercise of those things. And inventory meaning they go and like identify what they are. Based on those skills, I have them recognize, we talked about this last week, where they are in terms of the skill sets that they currently have, and then where they need to be in terms of the skill sets that are necessary for them to achieve whatever their ideal goal is. In between that, we talked about this last week, is a skills gap. Summer is the best opportunity to close that skills gap. We talked about this last week as well. The gap is just an indication that I have some areas to develop and I have some areas that I desire to develop. So closing them means I am actively working on the ways that I desire to develop. And over time, as it closes, I am developing those skills. So summer is a great opportunity to build skills. So I remember when I was in college, one of the skills that I was actively learning was really for my career path. I was an intern at Harbor Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was also an intern at the Maryland General Assembly for a state's attorney. The skill set that I was working on, and I didn't realize this at the time, but the skill set that I was working on was my writing skills and my oral communication. I was in a formal and structured setting, and then I was responsible for articulating things or communicating from stakeholders to decision makers, that sort of thing. And I was young, maybe like 18 or 19 in both places. And so I was actively building those skills. So summer is a great time to take an inventory exercise of, okay, where am I? Where would I like to go? Let me identify a skill that I want to work through or continue to refine over the summer. And, adults can do this too. If you're thinking about a promotion or you desire to be promoted or you see yourself going in a different direction, use the summer months when sometimes offices are more relaxed to pick up opportunities to develop that skill. So your next question should be, okay, how do you do that? It might be through volunteerism in an area that you can, that the organization would offer you opportunities to develop that skill. If you currently work within an environment, you can just simply ask, this is the skill I want to develop this year. Here's some project ideas that I'd like to do that will help me refine that skill. Sometimes we have to create the opportunity. So you can do that too. Let's see. You could also, obviously, you could take a class, but I feel skill development happens when you're doing it hands-on. It's aesthetic learning, like uh kinesthetic learning is what I meant to say, where you are actually using your hands or actively doing the activity that you're learning to develop in. And so skill building is definitely one that I feel is a great high value use of summer. And then to be able to come back and say, these are the areas that I've refined. You could update your resume should you be creating a traditional path. Perhaps that skill might be allowing you to open a new business. Like, skills are things that people can't take from you. These are abilities that you develop, and inherently they become sometimes a confidence boost because you are like pretty proud that you're able to do those things. And so you just never know where your skills may take you. So it's always good to be building them on the front end. So that's exactly why I'm an advocate for skill building for sure. Here's number 2. Every summer we should be teaching relationship building. Networking is 9 to 5, but relationship building is for the long haul. I read that in a book. I can't remember who, but it's not mine. I will admit that. And the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Together, referring to other people outside of you. So even if you're the visionary, even if you're the strategist, even if you're the goal setter, even if you're the trend setter, it's always, it's invaluable to have people who are rallying around you for your support. This is also something that I teach in the Excellence Academy. Shameless plug, and I didn't plan this. But I have students do an exercise, another inventory of all of the relationships in their wheelhouse. And think about this. I have them do an exercise where there are several types of communities that they're part of. They have communities that were, developed for them by way of their parents. They have communities that they've built, classroom relationships, teachers, coaches, if they're active in any community related programming, that particular demographic, those leaders, their own friends, all of those communities are opportunities to build relationships. I have them write out every relationship that they have or they feel like people who have been supportive of them, and then identify who are you strategically going to keep in touch with, follow up on, look to see if they need any help. But relationship building is something that we cannot omit to teach and or actively do. And I cannot I know I always have some stories about relationships that have profoundly impacted me, and all of them have been true. um I will share, okay, this one story I'll share, and then I'll move to the next one. One of the organizations that I used to work with, um my point, you are either put at the front of the line due to reputation or skill set. This proves that point. This organization leader called me. I was not even looking for any opportunities at the time. I was 24. And she said, "We have some positions open in my office." I did not want to work there. She said, "I've been watching what you've been doing online." At the time, I did not have what would now be considered an established platform, but I was still actively doing the work. And she said, "We could use," direct quote, "we could use the skill that you have of oral communication in this office. So I'm going to send you the application link to apply." At the time, it was a $30,000 salary increase, and I was only 23 or 24. And so, great example, when you are developing skills, you just never know what opportunities may come your way. The second point is that relationship was something that I had kept, I guess you could say, kept it abreast with as I matriculated through high school and college. She just happened to be in a hiring position when I went after I graduated. So you just never know how your skill sets and your relationships could benefit or help you in the long run. So it's always good to be on the front end of before you have a need, to be on the front end to be seen as valuable. Again, high uses of summer. There are so many ways you could use summer. You could travel, you can go visit loved ones, you can sightsee, you can relax, you can get better with your health activities. Great. And I would consider those high value too. But in the context of what I am passionate about teaching, the conscientiousness about elevating the minds of our kids, I feel in this context, a high value use is something that positions them to be confident, competent, and competitive. So that's all I'm going to be talking about on excellence and everything live. Okay, so here's the third one. A high value use of summer is an opportunity for self-discovery, like an opportunity to get to grow in the level of awareness about who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what your triggers are, your emotional reactions. It's a great opportunity to develop a heightened a heightened mindfulness about how you're showing up in the world. And journaling is a powerful way to do this. I'm going to give you 2 ways to practice self-discovery this summer. I read that journaling scientifically increases your mood. It helps you regulate your emotions. And the reason being is because you are literally writing. There's a level of mindfulness while you're writing, transcribing your thoughts and feelings on paper. You can clearly see what is maybe causing you to have an emotional reaction. The root of the emotional reaction will come up as you're writing. And I feel like there's no better way to get clear about who you are than to have time of self-reflection. And journaling is a structured way to do that. Now, when my mentor first asked me to journal in 2014, I was like, don't nobody got time to be, that take too much time. And it actually does take time. And there's a level of effort that's required for the journaling to even be of value. There's a level of conscientiousness that you'd have to be prepared to spill out onto paper. And that's what makes it powerful. It's not that you are just for the sake of it writing, but it's that you are consciously recording how you feel as a result of what, and as a result of that, why. And over time, you do that repeatedly, you will have a new level of consciousness. So you could also do this by talking through what you're thinking and what you feel. So you don't have to journal. The other alternate form is having a wellness coach, having a therapist, or someone who you can confide in to reflect with. So those are some ways too. But self discovery is not one of those things that I think we are very enthusiastic about doing, because it takes a level of effort. I am so passionate about self discovery that the latest project that I released, The Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens, the first unit of the workbook is on self discovery. What do you like? What are you looking for? What attributes do you bring to the table? What are the skills that you innately have? What does your inner critic say? How do you respond to your inner critic? The entire first unit, because I want young men and women to be so confident and keen on who they are. When they're showing up, there's no doubt, there is no fear, there's no feeling of inferiority. They feel very certain. Certainty looks different on an individual who has done a level of self reflection. And it's not arrogance. I feel like it's a level of confidence that no one could strip away from you. That only comes when we've taken the time to be mindful. And so, quick plug, it's not too late to grab your copy of The Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens. It's a great way to have dialogue with your teen. If you lead any group organizations, or you're a parent of a teen, or you teach teens in any capacity, or if you're a teen watching tonight, you say, I want that. Here's a sneak peek inside. With over 30 activities, journal prompts, quizzes, short activities, information on prominent figures, and historical learning opportunities, plus QR codes with supplemental learning videos, the workbook is a great tool for group learning within community organizations and school groups, or self-paced learning with parents and their teenaged children. So you can grab your copy of The Pursuit of Black Excellence at thepursuitforteens.com, and it's also linked in all of my socials. But self-discovery is one of those things that helps us to also visualize where we're going. So I think there's some value in sitting down to get really keen on who we are, what we want, what that looks like, so that we can be active in pursuing that. Nothing to me, and you know my motto, excellence in everything, every time. But nothing that we highly desire should be pursued blindly. There's a level of intentionality, commitment, and understanding when you are really passionate about something that is necessary, I feel. And when you are conveying that, saying that you've taken the time to do a lot of self-reflection, a lot of skill building. You are feeling confident. It's like an aura that bleeds from you, and that's the goal. If if more young men and women started showing up like that, I'd feel a sense of accomplishment regardless of what my monetary value was at that time. I just want them to display that keen sense of self, and that can only happen through self-reflection and self-discovery. Summer is a great time to do that, asking self-questions and journaling and creating vision statements, that sort of thing. Great exercises, and there are a lot of those exercises inside of The Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens. You don't have to be Black to benefit from the book. But in the later half of the book, it talks about historical moments in Black history that help a Black teen develop a level of confidence about who they are based on their past. That's why it's called For Black Excellence. But essentially, anyone who was interested in being really a good steward over time and wanting to refine who they are could definitely benefit from the workbook. Just wanted to share that last plug. So here's the fifth way. Here's the fifth way you can have a high value summer, and that is future planning. Thinking about, okay, you're technically midway through the year. What is it that I want? What is it that I want to do for this second half? Typically, people get to summer and they slow down. I'm gonna just put the car in neutral, and just enjoy this ride. When fall comes in, I'll resume my speed. But imagine how powerful it would be if your midway point of the year was a opportunity for reflection, and as a result of reflection, like re-strategizing. What are the remaining goals that I would love to accomplish? What do I need to refine? What behaviors and attributes and skill sets do I need to develop to achieve that goal? Again, being a good steward over time, something we cannot get back. We cannot get it back. And so I am an advocate. In the Excellence Academy, I actually teach I teach high school students how to strategically plan. I don't call it that because that language is scary and it's intimidating. But essentially, that's what I'm teaching them, how to think strategically about the use of time, how I'm evolving as time progresses in alignment to where I want to go. Because as of right now, those concepts are disconnected. So there's just like, okay, I'm living in the present, following the current instructions that are given to me. But there's not, unless they're inside some type of structured program, there's not a connection between this is who I am, but this is where I'm going. So let me be conscientious about creating the person that needs to evolve into that. And so essentially, the Excellence Academy does that, teaches them how to strategically plan. And I find this often that people always say, that is something I wish I would have done as an adult. I wish I need to be doing that now. And that, I guess that feedback is golden because if my goal is excellence in everything, and excellence is simply the highest level of effort, it's quality effort, then to introduce a very mature concept early is exuding excellence. And not only to introduce it, but to teach someone to apply it so that they can operate self sufficiently, that is also excellence. I know as parents, our goal is that our kids are self sufficient, that they are financially independent, that they can operate on their own. And the way we teach them that is to teach them how to plan, to be strategic, to be forward thinking, to be progressive, in addition to all of the other attributes that you may teach in soft skills and spiritual principles. But always thinking about, I'm here. The goal is to get here, not to be obsessed with that, with where you're going, but to certainly be conscious, to have a level of consciousness and always a preparing mindset. That's it. Summer is a great time to introduce this kind of conversation and this kind of dialogue. And the Excellence Academy will be opening up for enrollment in summer starting in May. And more information about that you'll see is forthcoming just in case you're interested. So those are our five ways or five high value uses of summer that we discussed today. If you are you're catching the end of this. Our first one was skill development. Our second one was relationship building. What was our third one? Self discovery. And then our fourth one was future planning. And then our fifth one is just come back next week so I can show you how to plan to use summer, which is we're going to teach you some research strategies, how to find summer programs. The structured version of utilizing summer in a high valuable way would be to decide on a summer program and pursue it. It doesn't have to be a camp per se. It could be a camp, but a camp that teaches a particular skill. Earlier today, someone sent me information about our courthouse in the county that I reside in, Prince George's County, is looking for interns. It's paid too. So next week, we'll talk about those things. We'll talk about ways to find summer programs, and I'll have a few for you because if I want you to have a high value summer, then I do want to arm you with ways to go search for those opportunities. And then I'll bring a few opportunities to share with those who are live or happen to catch the replay. All right, so that is our session for today. Thank you for joining me live. I was checking to make sure I didn't miss any of your comments tonight. Again, I will see you next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. We'll be talking about ways to find summer programs, and then I'll have a few examples of summer programs as well. And until then, I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Have a good night. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence. You amplify a voice of excellence. Your contribution to this world will be of excellence.